Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of the toy car tutorial. So as I mentioned in the last video, I don't like working with splines or body edges too much when you're trying to extrude them, just because once you start working with them, you kind of miss out on the opportunity to have exact dimensions, because as I show you in a split second here, it creates edges that are really hard to work with. So if we, for example, sketch on this plane, let's make a line across and just tangent it to the circle. It's gonna appear here. As you can see, that is a lot of edges now that it's trying to maneuver with, and it's not an exact science here. So what we're gonna have to do is go in there and basically sketch a line and make sure that we have a circle of that same exact shape that we're looking for, because later on this is gonna mess you up big time. So let's make it exactly 4. That way we don't have to guess, and then we can extrude that. And as you can see, it cut into the walls there because that one was a body line that was extruded. So let's hide that and then extrude it after, if we can get that. So we can extrude that now, and we have a 4mm tube or axle, whatever you want to call it. So now we can kind of continue with our work. So let's go ahead now and hide those sketches that we don't need, or delete in some cases. Again, sketches, they kind of slow down your processing speed, so I usually tend to get rid of them unless they're absolutely necessary. Like, let's say if I have a logo, then I keep that and I hide them. Like, hiding them also helps. So let's go ahead and redo that tangent. Now we have an exact 4mm circle that we can work with. We can now extend our body lines. Well, I call it body lines because we're about to make a body, because this is a toy car based on a Lego design. So I'm not gonna draw the little pegs that come with Legos. We're just kind of gonna work on little basic things that you can then incorporate later into your designs as you work on your own project. So as you can see, we extended it too far, so let's take it back just a little bit. Let's make it an even 32 here, and then let's check the distance. So you can click 2 edges and then look on the bottom and you can see the dimension there. So let's try to match that on this side, and so we can get similar results, because we're trying to center this after all. So that's what we're going to do. And then we can draw a line here and then a line across as well, just to see the exact distance from now the center to the tire that we have. So you can zoom in if you want to make it easier on yourself, but sometimes you can get away with doing it from a farther distance. But anyways, let's go ahead and select everything and move it by 12mm so that we can kind of align these things. And typically when you have body edges that connect, you can use the fillet tool or the chamfer, but in this case we're gonna have to draw those in because it's a circle and a square, so there's like no faces matching. So let's go ahead and just draw lines right on the edges there, since we can follow the grid, and then we just need to extrude those. And once we have those extruded, we simply union them and we can work with them as one body after that. So it's a pretty simple process, and sometimes you have to sketch them instead of using them, but let's go ahead and chamfer those and continue on. So now we just basically have to duplicate the tire and the rim by mirroring them over, and we have a center line here that we can use. So let's just use that. We don't have to sketch a plane or anything. And as you have noticed, we have the hub meeting there, and we did some wrong calculations, but let's just go ahead and get rid of the stuff we don't need so we can work as we needed here. And I'm just gonna move it over by a couple millimeters and show you a couple of things you can do to kind of figure out your problems. So if you go to the menu up top and you can select hidden edges, you can sort of look inside your model to see if it's in the correct placement. So if you move that circle, you can kind of see that it was already on target, so we would be fine as we were. But you can also use section view. So you can, for example, you do this and then you move it, and you can tell that it was there aligned properly. But we are kind of having an extra couple millimeters there, so we need to figure that out eventually. But for now, let's just continue on and we'll take care of it later. So let's make sure we extrude that as a new body, and then we're gonna make it long like a car frame. So let's see how much we want it. Let's try to make it long first. This is like a limo already at this point, so let's go ahead and shorten that, maybe about half. And I think this is more of a off-road platform, So I will stick with this. And what we can do now is select the things that we want to copy over by simply clicking them in the menu and then unselect the one you don't want. We can put it in a folder to make it easier to reference, and then we can just simply press the copy function as we move it over. So just make sure it's aligned on the edge there. And once we have that done, I'm going to show you a couple methods you can use. So for example, here we can see that there's a distance here that we need to accomplish on this side, and there's multiple ways of doing it. So one way is if you select all of them and you move it over, and if you know the exact dimensions, this works like a piece of cake. Another way is you can use the extrude tool. If you go to the tools menu and you can select all the bodies and move them out, and even for example click new body, which will separate it if you need it. But this makes it as a one-piece thing. So for example, we can also use the extrude tool on just the bottom pieces, move it over the 4 millimeters that we're lacking, and then we can replace the face up on top so that it matches the same face as we need there, and it keeps the body separate. And I'm just going to change the color real quick to make it look a little better and more pleasing to the eyes to work with. And now we simply extrude that bottom piece. Like, imagine this is Lego, so we're making it different pieces, and this is for strength. Let's make it as a new body so it matches the top platform, and we can union those together as if we connected the two Lego pieces. So let's go ahead and work on the back there, or on the right plane to be exact, and let's move it over by 2 millimeters just to make it centered, and this will kind of fix those calculations that we had wrong. But let's go ahead and section view, and then we can start sketching the body, and this is sort of where we're going to finish today's part. But let's go ahead and redo that. I didn't like that shape. Let's make it a square since it's a Jeep style, and we're gonna go ahead and put that line across, and we can use other sketches as a reference point. So if we select that the dot there and we drag it across to the end there, we can select it and we can move it across that plane. It kind of has like a guideline for us. Then we're gonna just make some windows here, and again, this is just a rough draft kind of toy, so don't take it too seriously. But I think this was a great beginner tutorial, because if I made a Ferrari up front, this would be really hard to learn. But with this kind of basic shape that the Jeeps have, rectangles and squares, it's really easy to learn with. So let's just go ahead and continue that. And as you can see here, it moves the sketch unless we lock it in. So let's go ahead and select that point, lock it into place before we select our dimensions. And we obviously also need a roof, so let's fix that, make it 10, so we can add an additional 2. And so like I was saying, we're going to finish on this note after we finish sketching the roof, just because I want to make kind of related parts. So we're going to just finish sketching that hood. And then one more tip real quick: if you're sketching and it turns into an arc as you're sketching, just shake it a little bit, turns it straight. So I hope you guys learned something here. Stick around for part 3, that'll be coming soon. Let's just go ahead and extrude that real quick just to show you like a little preview of what's to come, and we're gonna start right on the same spot next time when we come back. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Here at Shapr3D, our goal is to inspire and empower you to create your own amazing projects. Please support our work so that we can keep doing it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to see more.